dCPM sounds like a technical pricing term, but it actually determines who makes money and who takes the risk in digital advertising. I remember when I first heard the term about 15 years ago, I was confused and then skeptical, and honestly, I still am. Most people think that dCPM is a standard term defined by the IAB. It's not. It's a term that is used to make variable pricing sound more like a feature. But depending on how it is implemented, dCPM can either make your pricing more efficient or it can make it a lot harder to understand where the money is going. So after 15 years in ad tech, I have seen a lot of different evolutions of dCPM, from a simple budget pacer into a more complex algorithm that can either save your margins or blow your budget on under delivery. So let's break down how it actually works. The CPM part should be fairly straightforward for anybody in digital media. It's the cost per melee. It's the cost of buying 1,000 impressions. Now the D in dCPM stands for dynamic, which doesn't actually help very much because it immediately raises the question, dynamic in what sense? So let's go through the who, what, why, where, and when, and start with a little bit of history. The term dCPM started with the rise of programmatic auctions way back around 2008 through 2012. And at that point, advertisers were dealing with something entirely new. The price of an impression could change impression by impression, and it was based on things like supply and demand, the audience, the content quality, and even competition. So pricing, for the first time, became inherently variable. Now, in the early ad network era, dynamic CPM was introduced as a solution for this. The pitch was simple. Instead of paying the same CPM for every impression, the network would simply adjust the pricing dynamically so that you only paid for what each impression was worth. In theory, that reduces waste. In practice, it also meant that the network controlled the pricing, the inventory, and the optimization with limited transparency. And this is where it is important to be precise. dCPM has never been a formally defined term within the industry. And again, it was not ever defined and standardized by the IAB. Over time, it has been used as shorthand for auction-based pricing, a black box model, or a specific commercial structure. And so let me make this concrete with a simple example. In a fixed CPM model, you might pay $10 CPM for all of the impressions. If you do that, you are overpaying for the low value impressions and you're underinvesting, meaning you're not winning enough of the high value ones. In a dynamic model, the system might make you pay $2 for the low value impressions, $8 for something mid-value, and $20 for high value. So the CPM in this case becomes an output, not something that you set directly. And there is a twist here, a modern concept called bid shading. And in today's first price auctions, dCPM models often use bid shading algorithms where the system looks at the historical value to find some minimum price needed to win the impression without overpaying. It's sort of like having an expert negotiator working for you every millisecond in the auction. And so this solves the problem of wasting money on low quality inventory, but it actually introduces a new risk, under delivery. In the fixed CPM world, the seller takes the risk of not having enough inventory in order to fill your order. In the dCPM world, you take the risk if you're the buyer. If the market price spikes and your target dCPM is too low, the algorithm simply won't win enough auctions. You might save money on a per impression basis, but you'll fail to spend your advertising budget or reach your audience. Now, as the market has evolved into DSPs, the framing changed. So for example, Meta has a concept called OCPM, where the O stands for optimized. Google has a different concept. They talk about target CPM and a number of other things. The trade desk amongst those major platforms has actually repopularized the term dCPM in its client materials with a very specific structural meaning. And in the trade desk's version, dCPM isn't a black box. Instead, it's a way to manage your multidimensional bidding, where a trader can set a base bid and then the system applies bid factors, basically multipliers based on device, time of day, or audience. And this means that rather than forcing a trader to manage hundreds of different bids, the dCPM algorithm can automate that complexity to hit an average. So crucially, the trade desk pairs this with a transparent fee. Unlike the old ad networks where they hid their profit, the gap between, say, the $2 and the $20 bids, the trade desk keeps its platform fee explicit and stable. So the CPM is variable, the impressions are variable, but the take rate for the platform is known. Now, it's not really about dynamic pricing, because that's already happening. It's really about who controls the strategy and who takes the risk when the market moves. So, bottom line, dCPM isn't just a pricing model. It's a system that shifts control and risk. So if you hear the terms dCPM or OCPM, keep two things in mind. First is that they are not well-defined terms. So always ask, what exactly does that mean in this platform? And secondly, ask who is actually setting the price and who is exposed when the market supply changes. I am James Deaker. I am the Yield Doctor. I work with my clients on exactly these types of issues and help them make more money. Thanks for watching.